evening, you're watching the news from Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate celebrates the first day of blessed Eid al-Fitr. Muslims in most countries of the world celebrate the first day of Eid al-Fitr and calls for peace, security, and to put aside differences. And the Governorate of Dhofar completes preparations to receive tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate in wonderful Harif atmosphere. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. The Sultanate today celebrated the first day of blessed Eid al-Fitr. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Sayed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, this morning performed Eid al-Fitr prayers at Al-Hur Mosque in Muscat. Along with His Highness, the prayer was also performed by a number of Their Highnesses, Their Excellencies, the ministers, advisors and senior personalities. Honorable Sheikh Dr. Ishaq bin Ahmed Al Busaidi, Chairman of the Supreme Court and Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Judiciary Council, led the prayer. He also delivered Eid's sermon in which he spoke about security being lived in the Sultanate, saying it is a grant from the Almighty tied with reasons topped by worship to Allah, following the path of Sharia and keeping away from sins. He also said for keeping these bounties and observing rights of the homeland, preachers and educators should assume their role in containing events, calming emotions, and opening channels of objective and quiet dialogue with the youth to steer their emotions and to harness their energy in serving the nation. Then he requested Almighty Allah to protect the country, to preserve the Sultanate, aid him with rights, endow him with wisdom and success, preserve him, and to return this and its similar occasions for many, many years to come as His Majesty enjoys health and happiness. In the Governorate of Dhofar, His Excellency Syed Mohammed bin Sultan Al Busaidi, Minister of State and Governor of Dhofar, performed the blessed Eid al-Fitr at Sultan Qaboos Mosque in Salalah. Along with His Excellency, the prayer was also performed by a number of Their Excellencies, as well as members of state and shura councils, senior civil and military officials, sheikhs, dignitaries, and a large crowd of citizens and residents in the Governorate of Dhofar. The prayer was led by Musallam bin Ali al-Mashili, Imam and preacher of the Sultan Qaboos Mosque in Salalah. He also delivered Eid's sermon in which he focused on many meanings and lessons derived from the solidarity, cooperation and mercy among Muslims, requesting Almighty Allah to preserve His Majesty and to return this occasion to Him for countless years, and to continue His endow His Majesty with health and happiness. The Sultanate has unique, distinctive aspects during Eid days. In Oman, the Eid is prevailed by smiles on faces of children and the grown-ups alike. Eid celebration features are numerous. It starts with purchase for Eid in an event called Eid Habta, which are held for a few days before the advent of Eid al-Fitr all over the Sultanate, where people buy animals, Omani halwa, clothes and other needed items. During the first day of Eid, people wear their new clothes and they venture out celebrating the Eid, greeting family members and neighbors with feelings of solidarity, love and closeness. People gather to have meals specially prepared for the occasion, topped by ersiya, Omani halwa and other dishes. They also prepare shuwa or underground barbecue meat and masakik or skewers, which gather all family members and their neighbors to cooperate. People wish each other happy Eid and many returns of the occasion during all Eid days. Many Arab and Islamic countries today celebrated Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. In the Grand Mosque in Mecca and Saudi Arabia, thousands of worshippers performed Eid prayers with peace and reverence as the Eid sermon focused on unity, uniting the Muslims and eliminating all forms of dispute amongst them. In Palestine, thousands flocked to Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque to perform Eid prayers, whilst in the West Bank the prayer was observed under tight security. A number of Syrian cities received Eid with humble capabilities due to ongoing war for years. In Iraq, Muslims gathered in Baghdad for the Eid al-Fitr prayers among difficult security conditions. They marked Eid this year as the country continued to reel from 3rd of July bombings that killed over 200 people. In Indonesia, worshippers came in great numbers to public yards and parks to perform Eid al-Fitr prayers in the capital, Jakarta. The Eid sermons around the world witness prayers asking the Almighty to bestow peace, security and good omen on the humanity as some countries around the world receive this blessed occasion with poor security conditions as well as economic challenges and continuation of war and terrorism. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Yemeni government forces supported by Arab-led coalition recaptured army headquarters at Aden International Airport from suspected militants after an hours-long firefight today. Base Commander General Nasser Sari said there was no immediate word on the fate of the officers who had been inside the building when it was seized by between 15 to 20 militants in the early hours. The militants had penetrated the base after detonating 2 car bombs that killed at least 10 soldiers in the latest attack on security forces to hit the southern port city where Yemen's government took refuge after rebels seized the capital Sana'a. The recapture of the headquarter building came after troops exchanged rocket-propelled grenades and small armed fires with the militants throughout the morning. The Syrian army said today it was observing a 3-day ceasefire across the country, coinciding with the festival marking the end of the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. The army said in a statement republished by official media that a regime of silence is applied across all territory of the Syrian Arab Republic for 72 hours, from 1 a.m. on July the 6th to midnight on July the 8th. The statement did not specify whether the ceasefire extended to military action against militants such as Daesh Group or the al-Qaeda-affiliated al-Nusra Front. There was no immediate indication whether rebel forces opposed would abide by the new truce. A Baghdad bombing claimed by Daesh Group killed at least 250 people, officials said, raising the toll of what was already one of the deadliest attacks in Iraq. A suicide bomber detonated an explosive rigged vehicle in Baghdad's Karada district early on Sunday as it teamed with shoppers ahead of the holiday marking the end of the holy Muslim fasting month of Ramadan, sparking infernos in nearby buildings. Health Minister Adila Hammoud said that the bombing killed 250 people and wounded 200. The Governorate of Dhofar is prepared to receive tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate to enjoy the eye-catching natural scenery and good weather during Harif season and Salala's tourism festival. All the government and private bodies completed their preparations to provide facilities and services to the visitors and tourists. The mountains of the Governorate of Dhofar in this time of year are covered with green colour, with the fall of drizzle and the spread of fog. Some of the visitors choose the Governorate to enjoy Eid al-Fitr leave among joyful atmosphere. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate celebrates the first day of blessed Eid al-Fitr. Muslims in most countries of the world celebrate the first day of Eid al-Fitr, and this calls for peace, security, and to put aside differences. And the Governorate of Dhofar completes preparations to receive tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate in wonderful Harif atmosphere. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsrooms and the studios, we wish you happy Eid days and good night.